All right, sick. All right, so welcome back, everyone. That was my notes last time. As you can see, I've made a few more additions to the giant Google Doc. We're at 95 pages right now. Um, I've finished my notes for episode four. Um, Episode five, still working on that, and episode six have not started on. So now we're gonna react to episode seven. Um, it is not up yet. Uh, I just figured that I'd take the time now to go over a few questions that I have just before the episode begins. These questions are questions that I think the episode should be aiming to answer. Are a lot more questions that I have than what are here. Um, but I think that these are questions that the episode should really be, targeting, like things that are directly related to last episode or the episode before that. So like Ahsoka, Thrawn, that sort of thing. So just want to run through them really quick before I hit play on the episode. So first things first, Thrawn. Um, how did he survive? I think is a pressing question that we have yet to hear an answer for. He and Ezra were in the bridge. There was an open window, and they were dragged by whales bare on through hyperspace. And apparently, they were dragged so far that they went to a different galaxy. So that's a big deal. No one has ever been shown to have taken the brunt straight up of hyperspace bare on, and then got deposited out of hyperspace in in the vacuum of space, and they both survived. How that happened, we don't know, and we have no answer for. What is his plan after he gets out of Peridia? What, like, for the New Republic, right? He's got to have a plan to take them down, right? Or is he trying to reunite the Empire? What's he doing? What's his plan? What's his arrangement with the nightmothers? They had an arrangement. They've mentioned it. What is it? What does it entail? What's he giving back to them? What are they giving to him? Why did he want to kill or abandon Baylan and Shin? Why isn't he wanting to try and use them? Why does he think that killing them is the best option? And why does introducing the risk of him betraying them and it going bad? Why is that an acceptable risk for him? What is his relationship with Morgan? We don't really know beyond that she is his employee. Why did he want to take care to make sure that Ezra / Sabine got hunted and killed? Because he gave the option of just leaving them both there stranded and just dipping, and then also went out of his way to get Baylan and Shin to track Sabine, and then said, "Oh yeah, I'll be a strike team of 2 squads of soldiers on standby if you need them." That's a lot of assets when you have the option to just leave them there and dip. So why is it important and pressing for you to attack them, to hunt them down, make sure they're dead? Why couldn't he find Ezra? He's got a whole lot of assets at his disposal, including whatever remains of the Night Sister civilization and all of his sensors and people and just all of his assets, and he couldn't find Ezra. It's a bit of a stretch. What does he know about the New Republic? We don't know what he knows, so it'd be nice if this episode filled us in what he knows, where his gaps in his knowledge are, so we can see how he'll approach his strategies going forward. And then how has he changed in the last 9 years? He should have experienced a whole lot of changes, not just physically, but mentally, how he sees the world, his perspective, his point of view. What's that change? What does that look like? Ezra, same as Thrawn, how did he survive, but with the added wrinkle that he's on a fully staffed enemy ship, an enemy capital ship. How did he escape that and get out of there and still manage to remain undetected? How did he survive out in the wastes before he met the crab nody creatures, the dudes who fall into rocks and pretend to be dead or whatever? How did he survive until he met them? Then how did he integrate himself into their society, such that they'll accept him as maybe a leader? I don't know. How did he learn their language? Would also be nice to know, but I doubt we're gonna get that. How will he? And then most importantly, really, outside of how will he change? Because he's also been here 9 years. He should have changed as well. But how will he react when he learns that Sabine has lied to his face and everything he sacrificed is for nothing? Very important question that we need to get an answer for this episode. Morgan. What is her goal now that she's found Thrawn? Because that was up till here. She was going and getting Thrawn. That was it. She's got Thrawn. Now what? Now what's her goal? Is she just like trying to stay by his side or something? Is she just like a loyal puppet? What's going on? And then what is her character? Because right now she's contradicting. She's kind of a suck up, like bowing to the nightmothers, going along with everything Thrawn says. Or is she a self-important, arrogant frickwad? Because she's been treating everyone subordinate to her like they're a whole lot lesser than she is. She's calling Baylan, weak, essentially, like picking him apart mentally. It's just an odd dynamic there. And then also, apparently, she might be a religious zealot, ? It's a stretch, but I mean, just anything, really. Just the fact you can fill that into the gaps kind of says a little bit, doesn't it? We need something here, right? Something to sink our teeth into and not turn to dust. The Nightmothers. What is their relationship with Morgan? Because they're clearly still talking to each other, which is odd, considering they're separated by galaxies. But hey, I mean, whatever. What is their arrangement with Thrawn? Like, what's the details on it from their end? Like, what are they getting out of this? And then, are they the only witches on Peridia? And if so, what happened to cause that to be the case? And how did they survive? And if they aren't, then where are the other witches? What's their authority structure look like? And then how are they connected to the witches of Dathomir? Because it's just not very clear here. Baylan's skull. What is his plan? Because we've gotten, like, LaCroix levels of flavor of his plans, right? We've gotten whiffs of something that smells like it could have been in the same room as a plan. We have not gotten what his actual end goal is. Because right now it can be as wide, as broad as I'm going to rule the first intergalactic empire that rules this galaxy and as many galaxies as I can fit. Or it could be as narrow as, I think the Shin is better than I am, and I will train her to be better than me. And I will retire to a farm here on Peridia. It's a very wide range of just options, and there's any number of things that can fit in between that range, and we just don't know what his end goal actually is. What is needing destroying so that he can create what he's creating? What is being created that needs something to be destroyed in order? Just something. We need something to bite into. What is his relationship with Shin beyond Master and Apprentice? I mean, like, Obi-Wan and Anakin. That Anakin viewed Obi-Wan as the father he never had, and Obi-Wan viewed Anakin as his brother. Ahsoka viewed Anakin as her older brother. Anakin viewed Ahsoka as his younger sister. It'd be nice if we had something to bite into, really. And we really don't right now. We don't know what their relationship actually entails. There's a lot of contradictory stuff that I can't get into here. Don't have the time. I'll get into it when I get my massive video out. Let's put it that way. What are his goals and aspirations? Essentially the same thing as what's his plan, but like just specifically the goals, not how to get there. Why does he want to work with Morgan and Thrawn? Like, how is that the best way to go about getting his plan in place? Is he going to keep his promise or not? Because I want to be clear here. His promise was, if you come with me willingly, which she did, then you will see your friend again, which she has, and no harm will come to you. There's not a deadline in there. Like, there will be no harm until you meet your friend. There was not a hidden phrase in there. It was, there will be no harm that comes to you. So if at any point harm comes to her, he has broken his promise. What happens when he learns that Thrawn has betrayed him? Because that's what Thrawn's essentially doing. It's just like saying, "Yeah, we'll abandon you here. It doesn't really matter." What's going to be the result of that? We don't know that yet. Hopefully, we'll find out this episode. What is his character? Because again, we've got like LaCroix level sniffs of a character here. Like, he's trustworthy because he keeps his promise, but maybe not, but maybe so. He's compassionate because he was kind to his apprentice, except for the time that he wasn't, except the time that he was. But he's warm and opening, except for the times that he wasn't, except the time that he was trying to get Sabine to give him the map, until after that she gave him the map. We need something to bite into that doesn't turn to dust. What's his history beyond I survived Order 66? Big whoop. At this point, like, I can name, they fit on more than one hand at this point. Like, we need something to bite into now. Shin, what is her history? What's her relationship with Baylan? Will we get one singular firm character trait from her? Because right now she's nothing. And what is her goals and motivations? Like, she's actually about the same level as Marok was. We need something to bite into here, right? Huyang, what was that story that he was going to tell Ahsoka? Probably better than this story. Ahsoka, what did she learn in the world between worlds? Like, what was the lesson that Anakin taught her? Because it's, I hate to say it, but we still don't actually have a clear answer for that. And it's really important that we do. So I'd like to be able to hear what that lesson was. Was that the world between worlds or a concussion? We don't actually know that yet, and it would be really nice if we got a clear answer on that. How has she changed since episode 4? So specifically, what was the lesson? And then how did that lesson apply to who she was and who she is now? And is there actually a change? How will she react to Sabine's betrayal? Because she already kind of has in the cockpit in last episode and in episode 5 when she learned about it, like through feeling it. But more like when she confronts Sabine, how will she react to it? How will she react to meeting Ezra? This is, if it comes up this episode, it'd be nice to see. Will she survive when Thrawn shoots the whale, people scared? Let's just, real quick, yes. Because we can probably safely assume that Ahsoka's not going to die when they shoot a whale. What other wildly new powers did she gain that she would like to share with the class? She's already stole Quinlan Voss's power and Cal Kestis' power. She stole Ezra's power, so she can talk with animals now. What other interesting powers would she like to share with the class that she's attained in the world between worlds that would be beneficial for us to know that she's gained in the world between worlds but has not ever seen any training for? These are very rare powers that very talented people have who have trained their entire lives to have, and Ahsoka happens to just have an array of them. You can have Jedi training and still be overpowered compared to your peers. And unfortunately, Ahsoka is leaning that direction. Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, did not have this array of extremely unique power. And yet she does. Sabine, did she actually have a character arc between episodes 1 and 4? And did that get assassinated? Or is she genuinely just the same person from episode 1 to now? Because at this point, it's really not clear. Because I thought she had one. But at this point, I feel like I'm just going crazy. Because in episode 6, she just acted like she was back in episode 1. That's all. And so at this point, I'm going kind of crazy and would like that clarified. What consequences will she incur from her decisions? She's made some pretty bad ones. I'd like to hear some, if she's going to get any punishment for this. Not, necessarily, from Thrawn, but, from Ahsoka, maybe? Someone calls her out on her actions? And I set Ezra aside there because it's really important because she lied to his face. Will she learn anything from her mistakes? Because thus far, I thought she was learning, and then apparently she hasn't. Because she's repeating the same mistakes that she learned from in episode 1 in episode 4. So now I don't know, and would like that clarified. Does she actually learn from her lessons, or is she just that dumb? Will she fight another battle where she starts with guns, then loses them, and has to resort to her lightsaber, and once doing so is able to at least temporarily regain her momentum? Because this has just been the standard operating procedure for Sabine fights at this point, choreography-wise, and it's getting kind of old. I'm gonna be real. Has her being impaled actually affected her in any way? Because right now the answer is no, and I'd like to see if that continues being a no through this episode. Zeb, who's that? Hera, will she stop being a jerk for one episode? She wasn't here last episode, but that doesn't count. Since every episode she's been in, she's been kind of high-key a not nice person to be around. So if she's in this episode, will she be nice? Will she be understanding and comprehensive of her mistakes? Or will she just act entitled again? I don't know. Will she suffer any punishment for her gross negligence and violation of structure? That includes the death of 2 pilots on an unsanctioned mission, her attempt to to strand the other pilots there until they found Ahsoka, flagrant disregard for New Republic Authority on several occasions, mass incarceration of 1,000 dockyard workers who have done nothing wrong as far as outside of their employment history. She's got a whole ledger of poor decision making that just hasn't had any consequences yet. Will she learn to be a good parent? I sure hope so. Will she be able to organize a defense of the Denab system? This is more of a, if she doesn't get any punishment, which between you and me, I worry that she's not going to. But in case she doesn't, will she be able to assemble a defense of Denab? Because I assume that's where Thrawn's going to be going back through that system. Will there be a fleet waiting for him that Hera can assemble, or will there just not be? Jason, is there any limit to his abilities? Because he hasn't had any training, and that's very clear, and yet he was able to hear into a different dimension. That's something, all right. Enoch, does he have a character, or is he just Marok? Is he just there to sell toys? All right, so the world building. Peridia, what happened to the Night Sisters? Because they don't have a planet-spanning organization at this point. What was the scale of their civilization? Was it planet-spanning, or did they have only a little bit until they managed to get into space and fly off on whales? What happened? What's the deal with that? What was their relationship with the Dathomir witches? What remains of their civilization? Is it almost all gone, or is it all gone, or is there sizable amount left in underneath the ground in the catacombs? What was it like? What was the culture like? What was the religion like? What was it like to be a daily Night Sister lady on the ground day to day? What was it like to farm for the? What was it like being there in the heyday? What allowed the Nodi language group to rise? Because it's both the bandits and the crab people's language. They speak the same language. So what led to them being able to rise? Because the Night Sisters don't speak Nodi, as far as I know. So unless their influence has waned so dramatically that language group is able to rise and populate the entire surface of the world, who are the bandits? Those red dudes in the red armor? What's their culture like? Who are they? What do they have going for them? Why do they speak the same language as the crab people? Are they descendants of the same tree of ancestors? And how have they developed the ability to speak in the same language? And then will anything come from that? Or will they negotiate with each other today sometime during the episode? Will they have a hostage negotiation? We'll see. Why do they walk around as bandits doing banditry instead of riding around? Because the Howlers are native here. Why do they not ride them? How do the crabs move around? Because they said that they were going to move their houses around, but how do they do that? Did they master metallurgy? And if so, how and from whence are they getting the metal? How did the Stormtroopers survive this long? And by this, I mean all of the Imperials. That's a lot of Imperials. They have to have a lot of food, and not all of that food's going to fit on the Star Destroyer, and they're not provisioned to last their entire crew for 9 years. How'd they survive? Where'd they get the materials to conduct such extensive repairs on their systems and on the ship itself? Because half that Star Destroyer is new metal. That's a lot of metal. How did they get the materials, the expertise, all of that? How'd that happen? How many people does Thrawn have left? We don't actually know how many people are left on his ship. We saw a hangar full of stormtroopers. Is that it? Is there no one else flying the ship? And then more of the new galaxy. Just a quick vent of frustration. Is this literally the Star Wars galaxy, but here instead of there? Is there seriously nothing different about this galaxy? Why even bother then, you hack? We're in a new galaxy. What are you doing making it the same as the old one? All of this stuff could have been in Star Wars galaxy, and you couldn't tell the difference. The New Republic, why did they demilitarize in the first place? Why did they continue demilitarizing after Thrawn? How big of a problem really are the ex-Imperials in the system? Is there any problem at all from the mass incarcerating of thousands of dockyard workers for their employment history? What is their jurisdiction? Do people like them or not? What is going on with the New Republic? This is a lot of questions to start with. The episode hasn't aired yet, and this is the stuff that we need answered going into the episode. Alright. It's 9 o'clock. Let me see if the episode is up. It is. Sick. I'm going to download it, so give me just a second. It is a 45-minute episode that's shorter than the last one, and Mon Mothma is the cover figure. Hera must answer to the New Republic while far, far away a reunion takes place. Alright. So, just in the preamble, we've got a little bit to bite into. Okay? We will get some Hera this episode. We're probably going to see Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra all come together. How the rest of this is gonna work, we'll see. All right, so go ahead and hit play. And now, all right. All right. Okay. So we're gonna let the intro air. And I think everyone here knows where I stand on this. We've got stuff to answer. We got a lot of work to get through. We got a lot to grind through. This really needs to be a very tight episode. We can't be introducing new problems to the mix. You know what I'm saying? We need to really condense exactly. We need to be answering questions this episode. So that episode 8 we can really push the bar. You know what I'm saying? Push the boundaries next episode and get the plot, the story moving in a direction. So. All right. I want to know her background, history, home world, her master, everything. Yes. Go ahead and toss my shirt off. Let's do a shirtless Ahsoka review. Breakdown live action. All right.
Ahsoka are to return to Coruscant with the fleet. The Senate Oversight Committee is going to determine if your command should be permanently suspended.
The answer to that question is yes. Very yes. Very, very yes. All right. Ethereal music plays. Let's get cooking. Right. Star Wars. Boy, how I love you and hate you so much. All right, we are on a Ecumenopolis, it looks like, either Coruscant or Hazian Prime. Security forces. I feel like this is still a rebellion. Interesting. All right, good. Correct. Yes. Yep.
My job is to protect the people of this republic. That is exactly what I was doing. In the best way I know how.
See, and you protected the New Republic by ignoring direct orders.
All right, we're going to pause here. 2:34. So, let me write down the things I had to say real quick. Okay. So, first off, Sano is not correct here. There are no direct orders given that she has violated. She's violated policy and procedure regulations, not direct orders. She was not directly ordered to not go there. It's just that she didn't have the orders to go there, I suppose. She may have had initiative here, but we don't know what her jurisdiction was, and they've made it very clear that she was operating outside it, whatever it was. Why is he smug right now? I don't know, outside of just like a personal vendetta against Hera. And then why is the Senate running the military tribunal? It's a very odd choice to let your military tribunal be run by the politicians. Just doesn't sit well with me. You either want the the judicial branch or the executive branch in this government to be running it, not the legislative.
No, I protected the New Republic by ignoring you.
Oh, okay. Pause it again. 2:36. No, I protected the New Republic by ignoring you. Holy moly, do you want to win your case? That's how you got into this mess, by insulting people. Okay, so we've answered one question. She does not. Stop acting like a jerk in every episode that she's in. She's just not a nice person. Holy moly. Alright, hitting play.
Senator Sano, can we at least agree that General Syndulla's actions brought to light that there was an incident on Sato?
Okay, now we're going to pause again. And I'm going to have to wait this time. 2:51. Mon Mothma is hard backing Hera here and covering for her. Why? Number one. Number two, is this a kangaroo court for or against Hera? Because it sounds like the judge has already decided in Hera's favor, and Ziono has already swayed the crowd in against her. I don't know what's going on here. In either case, this does not seem like a very well conducted trial. It just seems very haphazard and not very legally good. Why is the courtroom so empty? And then why is Carson Teva arriving now? Why is he late? Is he a defendant? Because he should be, and he should be a defendant in a different case of his of his own case rather than in the Syndulla case. But it looks like, if I had to guess right now, they're gonna make him a witness, which is not how this works. Hitting play.
Yes, but this report reads like a child's fairy tale. Jedi, false Jedi, star map, star whales, distant galaxies.
Yep.
Honestly, are we to believe anything?
Morgan Elsbeth was leading a coordinated effort by the Imperial Remnant.
Objection. Imperial remnant. Such a sensational term.
Okay, now, okay. 3:13. No, that's not how objections work. You don't get to object to the use of terminology and verbiage. That's not a valid legal objection. You can't just interrupt someone and say, you're not using polite enough verbiage that complies with my own political ideology. That's not how objections work. This isn't a court case. Holy moly, this is probably one of the worst court cases I've ever seen in my life. And I did mock trial with a bunch of high schoolers.
There is no proof of any coordination between the scattered and dwindling number of Imperial forces. What about the conflict on Mandalore?
Alright, we're pausing it here. 'Cause this just got spicy. Alright, let me type these questions out. Okay, so why is Carson able to just interrupt in the middle of testimony? That's not how this works. Number 2, what conflict on Mandalore? Is this seriously saying that season 3 of Mandalorian happens before this show? Because that is a very odd creative decision to be making. Number 3, what the fudge is going on? Is he a defendant? Is he a witness? Is he an attorney? Or is he in the back audience? What is Carson doing here? What is his role? Because this isn't his trial. This isn't how court works. This is ridiculous.
Exactly my point. Gideon was a warlord acting on his own. There is no proof of a greater conspiracy and thus no immediate threat to this republic.
If Thrawn returns, that will change quickly. I don't know what frightens me more. The possibility of what might happen or your unwillingness to see it.
This is the politician using rhetoric wrong and a general who can't use rhetoric trying to. It's just so infuriating. Because holy moly, the least substantive points possible. If Thrawn returns. Maybe go for the fact that you've already said that he's probably dead. Just bring that up again. Be like, he is almost certainly dead. We have no evidence he's returning outside of word of mouth from no idea where, and you. And you've been siphoning assets, and you've siphoned assets, and 2 pilots are dead. That's all you need to say. And then she's out here just moral grandstanding to nobody. I don't know what's worse. The possibility of what might happen or your unwillingness to see it. That's a Twitter line. They made that for Twitter. This is not how you defend yourself in a court of law, much less a military tribunal. As someone who played a witness in mock trial, I'm really insulted by this. 'Cause holy moly, at least I tried. You're actually on trial and you can't be bothered to. Authority for personal gain. Yep, that's true. You will not stand for it. Based. And red pilled.
I motion that General Syndulla be court-martialed for disobeying a direct order.
What in the world? Oh no. No. 402. Okay, we have 2 problems. 1, what is this? Is this a Senate hearing so that a general can be court-martialed? That's not how court-martialing works. And then number 2, what is C-3PO doing here? This is silly. why are trials just this lackadaisical in the New Republic? Holy moly. Like, at least with Andor, the court system in Andor is garbage, but at least it fit the vibe. Are they actually trying to make the vibe that the New Republic are just that dumb? Because if they are, that just reflects on their own writing ability. Because you can write stuff well and have them still end up in a position of weakness later on. And this is just writing them dumb because you're dumb. C-3PO doesn't need to show identification, evidently. Oh my goodness. Senator Mayor Organa. That's very great. This is a kangaroo court in favor of Hera. Well, we've gotten our answer now. This isn't how court works. At all. Not even a little bit. Senator Organa has become... Okay. Alright, let's see what this data transcript contains. Thank you, Ziono. We're pausing it here. He objects in the strongest terms, Ziono does. And they're going to paint him as the bad guy because he's trying to beat back Hera, the good guy, into submission and get her court-martialed because he has a vendetta against her, I guess. The problem here being that he's actually entirely correct right now. And when he objects in the strongest terms, that's because in law, you don't just let a protocol droid walk up to the, like, while a witness is speaking, while the defendant is speaking, and just create evidence out of the blue. Like, Perry Mason is not accurate. And Perry Mason does this better, just so we're clear. And worse than that, he's going to lose this objection because the emotional music is playing. We've seen C-3PO, and Mon Mothma, the Chancellor of the New Republic, has already decided in Hera's favor before the trial started. This is just appalling. Just appalling. Alright, moving on. Oh, I guess his objection is never actually registered. Personally sanctioned. General okay, no, we're pausing here again. That's not how this works. If you're running a system of government where the senators of independent systems and individual jurisdictions get to pull and push and sanction missions of their own volition rather than going through the centralized military apparatus of a country, of a nation, of the Galactic Republic, then you are really having a very big question. Just how this structure works. Like, can they just sanction missions to other member states? Can they sanction missions to non-member states? Can they sanction sieges against non-member states? Can they bomb Mandalore because Senator Organa wanted them to? This is a terrible system of government. Just across the board, this is not how you run a government. That's not how... That's... Alright. I have 25. Number one... no, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to write down my questions again. Number one, mere droid. What the fudge? His strongest argument is that droids suck and he's a droid racist, I guess. Number two, why isn't he bringing up the fact that his objection just didn't get addressed? It didn't get dismissed, overruled, or sustained. He objected and no one even cared. That's not how court works. Leia is going out of her way to insult Ziono? Why? How is that politically advantageous to you? There was no vote against the mission that we saw. I assume that it's talking about the, let me confer with my colleagues, and then Hera walks off and it just happened off screen. But we didn't see that vote take place. And then last of all, why is she complaining that she wasn't at the meeting? Because She could have been there. We don't know why she wasn't there. We just assume that, like, they had a reason for her not to be there. Like the fact that, this was the Senate Oversight Committee. And so therefore she wasn't there because she wasn't on the Senate Oversight Committee. And that's why she wasn't there, because she didn't have jurisdiction in this area, unlike Ziono, who does. And so she was unaware of this situation. She's just overstepping her political bounds and, like, what she has the authority to do. She's just abusing her... Leia is abusing her power. Let me say that again. Princess Leia Organa, is abusing her authority to make her political will get done in a democratic system. You've introduced Leia as an authoritarian. Like, on a fundamental level, that's fricked. You fricked up very badly here, because she's abusing the system to get her own will done. And she's abusing the system to sanction missions without authorization. She's abusing the system to get the commanders she favors out of the system. She's covering for Hera. She's making sure that she gets free of punishment. She's earning favors with the generals. She's pulling a Caesar. Well, not directly, but, like, she's trending that direction. She's abusing the systems in place to get her own will done. That's how you start down the direction towards an empire. We're not even close to there yet, because we don't have this infrastructure to make one. But if there's anyone who's clearly on that path, right now, the two people are Leia Organa and Hera Syndulla. Do you realize how you've messed up writing if that's the case? Not an ex-Imperial. We're not talking about Senator Rodrigo here. Leia and Hera are the two closest to fascists in the New Republic. Moving on. As leader of the Defense Council. Okay, now we're going to pause a second time. What? Did she just not show up to her own council meeting and then complain that Ziono enacted a vote in the Defense Council meeting that she didn't attend for no reason? And then she got so salty that she just overstepped her bounds and just overruled his vote. Is that what happened? That's ridiculous.
Well, that seems to settle the matter. Unless you remain unsatisfied, Senator Sierra.
No, Madam Chancellor.
Awesome.
Court dismissed.
Right. 5-1. No one brings up the fact that two people are dead on an unsanctioned mission, because this wasn't sanctioned. She's making this up. Because if you remember, Senator Organa was covering for them. They all knew this wasn't actually sanctioned. So Leia's lying and covering for the deaths of two pilots who have died for no reason because they accomplished nothing. She has killed people who didn't need to be killed. She has led to the deaths of her pilots. She has run safety risks on all of her pilots. She has straight up said, once a rebel, always a rebel. I'm not going to comply with the authority structure because I feel like this is right. And so she's just decided to just create a jurisdiction for herself, fill their people into it, and then do whatever she feels like. That's her role as a general. And now it's sanctioned for her to be able to do that. Fundamentally awful. Just awful writing. And you know why it is? It's because they didn't realize that's what they were shaping up. They think in the writing room that Hera's justified. That's why this is written the way it is. Appalling.
Thanks, Imperial.
Well, it is my programming and my pleasure to be of service, General Syndulla.
Great.
Captain Taylor.
General Syndulla, might I have a word? Of course, Chancellor. I don't know what you and Leia are playing at.
Thank you.
She did not authorize your mission. She did. Eventually.
Thank you, Mon Mothma. Holy moly.
How real is the threat of Thrawn's return?
We have to prepare for the worst.
Okay. 6:30. What was it? 9 or 1? 9. Okay. So, number 1, Hera lies to Mon Mothma's face, and then until she says, eventually. So she's still a scumbag, just to be clear. She's still entitled, and she still thinks she's in the right, whatever she does. 2, Leia was absolutely overstepping for her bounds. She was falsifying evidence in a court of law so that she could get someone off that she liked. Number 3, Mon knows that and doesn't care. She didn't call them on it. She, in fact, called the court in Hera's favor. They just enacted a kangaroo court in Hera's favor to humiliate Ziono. This is not a system of government that's just and righteous and based on the system of law and justice and order. This is a corrupt system. And they're not trying to portray it that way. They're trying to portray this as good and right because Hera's good and right. They're not trying to portray this way. And they have. They've portrayed this as a horribly corrupt system where whatever you do, it doesn't even matter if it's against the rules or even if it doesn't accomplish anything. As long as you're well connected enough, you can get out of any punishment. That's ridiculous. And Mon Mothma only cares about the threat of Thrawn, which she doesn't even know is real. She has to ask whether it's even real. If Hera puts her personal feelings aside, is the threat of Thrawn real? The answer happens to be yes, but she doesn't know the answer is yes. If the answer is no, then what have you done, Mon Mothma? Alright, play it again. Play it through. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So yeah, we're going to hopefully be seeing a fleet in the Denab system waiting and preparing for the return of Admiral Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn. Bodaciously Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn. Bodaciously vindictive Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn. Alright. Purgles are heading towards... Why is Ahsoka training in the training hub of the whale's... of the ship that's in the whale's mouth? Oh, okay, I see why it is. It's so that we can have a hologram of Anakin watching her train. Why? Oh, it's because they had Hayden Christensen just okay. This is very weird. 7:50. Okay, let's knock out a few interpretations of what happened. Number 1, that she feels awful about the war. No, she clearly is or has been training with a hologram of a Clone War era Anakin Skywalker as her motivation. She is not trying to move on from the war. In fact, she's still stuck in it, if anything. So clearly that wasn't the motivation. The clone death motivation probably falls under this umbrella, so we can sweep that aside. All you're trying to teach me is combat, and so I don't know how to train my apprentice in anything, but that's this. And so clearly her still doing this kind of shows us, the audience, that this isn't a problem for her and that she's not actually concerned about training Sabine only in the martial ways, like combat and violence. She's afraid of her legacy being that of death and destruction. No, because she's still using the hologram of Anakin Skywalker to teach her how to do combat. It's just this right here in the second scene containing Ahsoka Tano, since she's been in the World Between Worlds or had a concussion, one of the two, just knocks out like 3 or 4 of the interpretations of what happened. This shows that she does not fear and regret the war. This shows she's still in it.
It's my responsibility to prepare you. So practice these forms often. Or at least more than I can. I won't always be there and look out for you. If we get separated or something happens, you need to be able to make it on your own.
8:35. Hu Ying is standing in the doorway and hasn't said a word. I assume that he's probably going to ask her about this, which means that she has not actually been doing this entire time. This is something new. That's my assumption anyway, just from what I'm getting from this. Number 2, she is bowing to a hologram of her master bowing to her. She's clearly like reconciled with him in whatever facet that implies. Because she still respects him enough to bow to his hologram 10 years after his death. Also, just a nitpick pet peeve of mine, they're in the mouth of a whale and we don't feel it. She's training on a completely flat room with no problems whatsoever of balancing and like just totally fine and everything. And once again, she's in the mouth of a whale. There's just no stability problems. Just come on, you gotta be kidding. Anything like, can we see her like struggling to keep her balance and be like, whoa, the whale, it's moving its tongue, like, just make it interesting, or are we just gonna pretend that they're not in a whale's mouth? Okay.
They made 20 or more of these recordings.
Yep.
This was his last one.
Very thoughtful. I never realized.
Yep. He didn't know. Ahsoka elaborates to him rather than him asking her. But okay, let's pause him here. 8:57. He was a good master. So I assume this is a strong tie that she's learning to accept something about Anakin is the lesson that she's learned between worlds. But that just doesn't fit with the lessons that are being taught in there. Live or die? Is it really just, I need you to learn to survive? Is that really all it is? The lessons that she's learning is just, it's not clear. And may I add, if she was smiling and stuff beforehand, she's not smiling here. I know this is just me being picky and mean and angry, but like, Ahsoka is not changing from who she was in episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. She's just back to not being expressive. So what was the point of the arc? What did she learn? How has she changed? She hasn't. She's the same. I agree, Ahsoka. Sigh again.
Did you need something?
I think the whales may be reaching the end of their journey.
What makes you think that?
According to my instruments, their speed is decreasing.
Yeah, just complete silence, dead silence, and there was nothing to that. There was nothing to that silence. That was like 5 or 6 seconds. You could just cut out of the thing entirely. You wouldn't lose anything.
Suppose we do that. If we have indeed traveled to another galaxy, our star charts will be useless.
Yep.
She came here with the enemy. We find the enemy, and we find Sabine.
Okay, pause in there. Just a pet peeve of mine here. Again, this is just me. It's really annoying that they're calling them the enemy because they don't have a name they don't have a faction name. There's not a faction here. It is Thrawn and the Night Sisters and the nightmothers and Morgan and Baylan and Shin. That's not a faction, but they can't bring themselves to just say Thrawn, Morgan, Baylan, Shin, the nightmothers. They just inherently feel like they have to use a faction name when there isn't one, and so they just pull the enemy. It's not, there's nothing to bite into there. It's dust, again.
Direct and to the point as always.
That's my style.
I would point out that you are assuming the star whales have brought us to the correct galaxy, let alone the same system or even the same planet where Lady Wren was taken.
I think the odds are pretty good.
No, in fact, they're terrible, astronomically terrible.
Well, you should have said something.
I did, but you never. The worst part is, I hope you are right.
I know you do.
Yeah, okay. We're going to go ahead and very quickly pause here. 10:14. I want to be clear here that I think Hu Ying is actually being more exaggerative than I am. I think that the whales being here in Cetos and in Denab strongly implies a connection to the Peridia, that galaxy. Because I think there's only one path to that galaxy that's like the most efficient path, and it's from Denab to Peridia. That's what I'm assuming. Whereas Hu Yang is like, this is astronomically terrible odds. I'm clarifying this from my perspective, but the fact that Hu Yang is trying to establish how astronomically low the odds are, that's very bad, because that means that they're trying to establish this is super duper unlikely, which makes the story worse, that they've just banked on a coincidence. I don't think it was coincidental, but they're trying to write in that it was. Why? You had a functional story without trying to make it non-functional. Right. Now they're moving. Now the floor is shaking. Alright. Tons of Purgles. Alright, let's go. Let's see what's going on. Alright, let's see here.
Let's find out where we are.
Initiating scan.
How? How are you initiating a scan? You're inside of a whale's mouth.
I'm picking up a lot of interference.
Yeah, no duh. You're in a whale's mouth. Something's wrong. Okay. 11:08. What are the sensors? Okay? Because here's the problem I'm having, right? They can sense like the speed and data and range and know when they're getting out of hyperspace, but they're inside of a whale's mouth, so how do they know that? They're inside of a whale's mouth, so how are they being able to detect that there's multiple objects in front of them? I know the whale's slightly opened its mouth, but how can you detect that? But at the same time, you have to keep that in mind and reconcile that with the fact that they could barely scan the fact that the hyperdrive was a hyperdrive ring within like cannoneering distance of the 1602 British Navy. They were within spitting distance and had not yet scanned the hyperdrive ring, but now they're in a whale's mouth and it's slightly cracked open. They can detect multiple objects in their path. How good are their sensors? How bad are their sensors? Because to me, it seems like they vary based on the writer's needs. No, you're not safer in there. Okay, what is going on? What in the world? What in the world is this? 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 There's an Imperial minefield deployed at the arrival point? Oh, okay. 11:43. Big problem here. Fat problem here. How, why, when? How did they deploy all of these mines at the arrival point, quote unquote, of the planet? How did they know that it would be the arrival point? I assume we're basing this on tendency of the migration patterns of the whales, but like, we haven't established that. That's me assuming. I'm writing that. They didn't. Number 2. Clearly this wasn't set up before Morgan showed up, because otherwise she'd have run into it, right? Like, this map that they're following is based off of the migration patterns of the star whales, so she would arrive at the same arrival point that the whales do. Therein, this was not a thing beforehand. 3. When? How? What materials? Like, how did they have this many mines? This is a lot of mines that they've got in place. Where were they storing them? When did they put them out there? Using what ships? Did they just like let the Chimera do a couple of minesweeping paths? Like what was the? How did they set out all of these mines? Where did they get all of the mines? This doesn't make any sense. It just does not fit with the world, the lore, with anything. And the only reason this makes any sense is because it explains how the whales come here to die, and it's just because they blow up on mines or something, I guess. But that doesn't make any sense, because clearly they said out loud, they're Imperial mines. The Empire hasn't been here until 9 years ago. So clearly, this system of mines being used to kill all the whales off has been at least, at most, 9 years old. Therein, therefore, and thusly, this isn't a thing. This just... Okay. And I want to also be clear here. The only reason this would be a thing is because Thrawn said to destroy any Purgles that come in with extreme prejudice. Problem being, the Eye of Sion has 4 turbo lasers and can't do that. And the Chimera is loading supplies and can't be up there to do it. Therefore, they need something in there that can destroy the whales with extreme prejudice, so that Thrawn's statement that they should destroy the whales with extreme prejudice is thus fulfilled. How do they do that? Well, they invent mines and put them out there and say that the Empire put them there. Look at Thrawn. He's so smart and sexy. It doesn't work. And it doesn't even work in the universe because they're about to fly in between all the mines. So, this is so dumb. They've made Thrawn achieve basic competence and then have his plan of basic competence be executed in the most incompetent way possible so that our heroes don't actually face any danger. Because if the whales were being shot at by a Star Destroyer, we'd have big old problems, right? Because the Star Destroyer can track and shoot at the T6, a Jedi ship. But with the mines, they can't. So, I don't have words right now. It's 9:50. I've been at this for 50 minutes, and I've gotten through 11 minutes. This is just chock-loaded with bad. All right.
At least the whales are providing some cover.
Wow, that's really brutal. Really dark. Holy moly. At least they're just hyperspacing away? Okay. We're going to go back to 12:01. Alright. Okay. Problem 1. The whales jump out of the minefield, but also hyperspace range can cross hundreds of kilometers, so it both takes hundreds of kilometers to enter hyperspace, and you can enter hyperspace in a couple meters. They've now made entering hyperspace inconsistent. What is the distance required to be able to enter hyperspace? We don't know that anymore. Because thanks to The Last Jedi, it's clear that you can stay out of hyperspace for hundreds of kilometers, because that's the distance between the Radis and the Supremacy. But these whales, and I understand that these whales are probably operating off a different principle of hyperspace than we are, than the ships are, but at the same time, because now we have to reconcile hundreds of kilometers to enter hyperspace and a couple meters. It's a very difficult thing to reconcile, especially considering the Radis is a high-end ship that probably has not even been built at this point in time. It's a very technologically advanced ship, especially considering that it has a quote-unquote experimental shield design. Number 2, also the whales are jumping deeper into the galaxy. If they're coming here off of natural migration, they should be coming here to die, right? Why are they jumping elsewhere? Deeper into the galaxy instead of just turning around and going back to Nab, right? Because if Ahsoka's quote-unquote forcing them to come here against their migratory will, they should just be going back to Nab, right? Evidently not. Number 3 there, holy moly, Huyang and Ahsoka are being really dark. At least the whales are giving us cover. The whales are dying because of this. And you want them to stay, and you're just feeling, oh man, sure is unlucky that the whales are leaving. They're dying. They're being hurt by these mines. They're not save the whales. They're sacrifice the whales. Holy moly, that's dark. And they're not even trying to be dark. That's the thing. The writing is not very good. But we know that, don't we, folks? Don't we, folks? Alright, we're pausing the second time. 12:08. Just how big is this minefield? Because they've been going forward for a long time. And it's got to stretch really far out to the right, really far to the left, really far up and down, and really far forward. Where did these mines come from? This is a lot of mines. And they can only afford to send 2 combat squads of people to go and intercept Ezra and Sabine. But they can afford to lay what's looking like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of mines over the course of a couple days. No. I pull my statement back. I retract what I said. It is less time than a couple days. You know why? We have an accurate timeline, relatively. Ahsoka fell down and hit her head at night. She wakes up the next day in the ship, and Huyang tells her that it has been one rotation, one day on Cetos. And then she basically jumps like within the hour after that. So we can hard confirm that it is one Cetos day. One Cetos day has passed in between the hyperdrive ring getting here and the whales getting here. Now the whales may be slower, maybe the ring is slower, but like we don't know how long this journey actually has been. But it's clearly more than like a few minutes. Excuse me. Point being, if we're being really strict here, this is probably less than a day that this minefield has been placed. They don't have the resources to make this happen. This, physically speaking, cannot exist. And yet it does. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, we're going to go ahead and real quick. Well, I'm glad that I answered that question with a no earlier, because that was, or sorry, with a yes earlier, because clearly the answer was yes. Yeah, she survived that no problem. She just had to fly around and, like wheel around, and now she's through. She's good. We're good. There are no issues whatsoever. I will add here, though, just a little tiny notation that we can talk about here, right? If we're being as brutal as they are, Huyang and Ahsoka are like, well, yeah, hopefully the whales will soak up the damage of the mines. Let's be as dark as they are. If they hyperspace ram the ring right here, right now, this saga ends. The pearls can't get through because there's still a minefield in between them. The ring is gone, so they can't get back. Guess who's stranded here? Sabine and Ezra? Sure, and Ahsoka and Huyang are dead. But Thrawn is still stranded here. Morgan is stranded here. The nightmothers are stranded here. Enoch is stranded here. Baylan and Shin are stranded here. So guess what? If you hyperspace the ring right here, right now, you win. You sacrifice your life, you sacrifice Huyang's life, and you leave Ezra and Sabine there to die. But at the end of the day, Thrawn cannot get back because he's used his last assets to get here. Morgan was his last shot, his Hail Mary. There are no more connections to get him back. If you knock out this hyperspace ring, he physically cannot get back. And so you have saved the galaxy. But everyone here knows they're not going to. They're not going to do that. So let's continue. Oh, there's more fighters. Oh, there's 9 fighters now. Multiple fighters are closing. Alright. We're going to go ahead and pause right there as well. Alright. So, number 1. There are 13 fighters that they have in total, apparently. There's 4 that got destroyed last time, and then there's 9 here. That's a weird number of fighters to have. I am assuming that they have more on the back burner, and they just haven't launched all of their fighters for some reason. But we'll see. Number 2. More importantly, they had 9 fighters, at least. Which means that they could have used at least some of those to intercept the X-Wings and the Ghosts, so that they would knock them out of course. And then, sure, you leave those fighters behind, but you don't risk running into the X-Wings and the Ghost on your path to Peridia. Which means that you inherently have a safer trip ahead of you and do not risk ruining your entire project. So you had that option on the table. If there was 2 fighters, I would be stretching here, right? If there's only 2 fighters, then they might not even break off for that, right? But if there's 9, they'll break off. You don't have to use all 9. You could use like 5, but like you can break them off and make your trip safe. And you didn't. You chose to ignore them because you had. I don't know. You just didn't have a brain. Moving on. You're gonna make for the debris field. Oh, great. So she's going to lose the fighters and the whale bones. That's great. Speaking alien language. Are these different pilots than from before? What on earth is this? What on earth is this? What on earth was that? Holy moly. 1333. That was just ugly. And I mean like visually. That was ugly. Holy moly. You're spending all of your budget on stuff like that. That doesn't serve you any purpose. I just let them have 2 fighters. Yeah? Because we all know that these 9 fighters will do jack diddly frick for against Ahsoka. In fact, her crashing into whale bones at a high rate of speed has done absolutely no damage to her fighter, to her shuttle, to her whatever. So I don't just have them have 6 fighters. This is a privately funded venture. She doesn't have to have all the assets of the Empire on hand. She can just have 6 fighters, and that's all she has. This can be a small operation, like a cartel, basically. And you don't have to have this scene. You can just, this doesn't make any sense, okay? And you could write it to make more sense, and you don't. It's just, you have to always just have something happening. Whoa, she's flying through whale bones, so cool. And also, why are the whale bones like quietly like just crashing into each other, just like constantly doing that? That's not how rings are made. They don't constantly crash into each other. They're relatively stable, relatively speaking. I'm gonna press play again. Right. There's still only 3 Night Sisters. Reveal was triggered. We're pausing here. This is, to put it nicely, the show flirting with itself. Let's put it that way. There is not a world where Grand Admiral Thrawn does not know that Ahsoka Tano is the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker. He would know all of this. He would know that specifically. Like, if he may not know her homeworld, even though that would be surprising. He may not know how old she is, even though that's in doubt. But the one thing he would know is who her master is. But here's the thing. They want us to feel smart. Because we know who her master is. And we want to... It's like when people react to something. Like an episode of Ahsoka, let's say. And you want to feel like they're sharing the experience with you. That's this. We're watching Thrawn react to the information that Ahsoka is the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker. It's just vapid, though. It shouldn't. It's like if the reactor had already seen the content and was just faking the reaction. That's what this is. It's fake reaction content. All right, we're gonna keep playing. Our fighters, excuse me?
Why not allow them to follow? With due respect, Grand Admiral, without pursuit, we shall lose them in the debris field.
You're quite right, of course. Jedi are very good at hiding. They've been practicing that for years.
Thank you.
We are getting to know our adversary.
Oh my gosh.
Which is anything like our past. Unpredictable, quite dangerous.
That's awesome.
Why we must control all variables.
Pausing here. Okay, this is great. This I wanted to see. Alright, 1502. So, we... oops. 02. So, we need to see more of this out of Thrawn. We need to see him like planning stuff and like just intricately breaking down his plan, what his plan is involving. And while it's really annoying that we have Morgan as the dumbest frick foil, like she's playing the role of Pelion but worse, being like, well, how does this work? Why aren't we pursuing Ahsoka into the asteroid field where all our fighters are crashing into whale bones? While that's going on, and that's how they're conveying it, it's really annoying, but at least Thrawn's planning stuff and we're seeing it happen. That's good. We want to see more of that. Problem, what the fudge? You're controlling all variables? You've already introduced multiple risky variables to your equation. Why did you spend this much time and effort and energy making a giant minefield? Because that's a lot of effort. And you could do anything else, really. Especially since you're like, I made a giant minefield. So that we would know when Ahsoka Tano arrived, because we weren't planning for her to die in the minefield. And we also weren't planning for the fighters that intercepted her to actually intercept her. We were planning for her to hide in the whale astrobone field. But it's just, what's your plan then? Tell me what the plan is. You're like, well, we're getting to know our opponent. That's wonderful, Thrawn. It really is. But like, what's your plan to stop her from stopping you? Huh? Like, you should probably have one of those by now, considering you've got 3 days to load supplies. Well, probably 2 now. But point being, just, it's really frustrating. It really is. Just, we still don't have a plan. We have how we're going to use Ahsoka's stuff so that maybe the writers can have a break to eventually come up with a plan on their break. But also, yeah, he's introducing a bunch of risky variables, like betraying Shin and Baylan. That's a risky variable that he's introduced. But he's like, let's control all variables. That's not in line with what he's doing. Put her on a path of our own choosing, so no matter what direction she takes, she's fricked. Always one step ahead of her. But where's the end of that path, huh? Because these are very thick rings. Oh my goodness, don't tell me that there's going to be a living whale in here or something. Like the grandfather of all whales or something. Oh no, don't. Right. Pausing again. 16:00. Okay, number 1. How did they anticipate? I think it's pretty self-evident, because that was really the only way you could possibly come was by space whale. So the fact that they anticipated you coming by space whale was not in the least bit a surprise. What's surprising is how they went about it, because it was dumb as frick and very resource intensive. But the fact that they expected you to come by space whale was not even a little bit surprising. 2, once again, we're cooking time. We're 16 minutes in, and frankly, we have not done much. We've gotten Hera off the hook. We've gotten Ahsoka here, and we've seen Thrawn has an idea of what he might eventually do one of these days. But right now, we don't have much to sink our teeth into, and we're 16 minutes into episode 7 of 8. This is a 45-minute episode, not 48, and the credits are 5-6 minutes long. We got 40 minutes. We're almost half done with the episode. We're still biting dust. This needs to be a very compact episode to answer all the questions that we have. Excuse me, that I have at least. And we're getting dust still. And Thrawn was behind that attack? No duh. He's here. Those were Imperial mines. It's a very short dotted line to connect, right? So why are we taking the time to explain to the audience that Thrawn is behind that attack? We know. And why are we showing that Ahsoka knows? Because it's obvious. were just cooking time. Again.
Then
The enemy has already found him. Yeah.
Seems so.
Okay. Gentle music playing.
I will run a scan to see if I can locate Lady Ren.
How? You're in a dense field of whale bones. I don't. I can't. Okay, no, we're pausing a second time. What is this? Okay, I'm half exaggerating. The half is that you remember the reaction content where a reactor already knows what's going to happen? It's a little bit in play here. I have to admit something. I saw a clip before back in like noon today. I saw a clip of this. So I already know a little bit about this. But the problem is that me knowing that still doesn't make it make any sense. What I'm seeing here on my screen is the crab naughty. That's what I'm calling them. The crab naughty are moving their houses on repulsor lift technology, and they're basically a bunch of car houses. Inherently, that's not the society that they seem to have constructed. They're a nomadic society that seems to be food foraging society, and a very nomadic one of that. But they also have repulsor lift technology that's extremely at odds with everything about their society to this point. Because nothing that they've done or built or just anything has given any impression of... In fact, it was surprising that they had metallic homes, right? Except, evidently, their repulsor lift metallic homes. They can float on the ground and move around like cars. What? That's not how civilizations yeah, we're giving a whole lot of credence to the whole aliens built the pyramids is what this is looking like. Okay, so, all right, moving on. Why are these houses like wildly different sizes?
Never really thought about how much I've missed. I'm still trying to process.
Oh, it's a little baby crab turtle.
Empire was defeated.
Battle of Endor.
Okay.
The Emperor died.
That's what people say.
Oh no, nope. All right, 16. Sorry, no, excuse me, 1701. 01. Great year, great year. That was. So Ezra is being informed on the history up till now, and it is straight up these three events: the Empire fell, the Battle of Endor, the Emperor's dead. So people say. She didn't say yes. The answer is yes, but she didn't say yes because of the Rise of Skywalker, and because they want to feel clever and be like, Sabine might know something. Sabine doesn't know frick all. She's been up in a tower for 10 years, moping about Ezra's death. No, and he's like, okay, there's a new republic. This is just the worst. We get to flirt with ourselves here, right? That's what we're doing. We're flirting with ourselves so we get to watch Ezra react to the news of the galaxy. Wow. I can't wait to see Ezra's reaction to news that the Empire has fallen, the Emperor is dead, the second Death Star is blowing up, the first Death Star is blowing up, Luke got his hand cut off, Darth Vader was Luke's father, Darth Vader is dead, and also there's a new republic, and there's Imperial remnants led by Moff Gideon who bombed Mandalore. That is just... This is the most simplistic thing you could ever do. You might as well just keep it all off screen and be like, I am really having trouble processing all the stuff that you told me. And then her just say, well, yeah, that's a lot. I know it's a lot, but when we get back, I'm sure you'll be able to see it for yourself. How about that? There you go. Cut off a bunch of lines. We don't flirt with ourselves. We save on time. We still build character. We can get to show Sabine being like, I'm really hoping to get you back. And we're like, I can't wait to show you around the galaxy. It fits her character. It fits the discussion. Just stop wasting time. Golly.
Zeb's training recruits.
Zeb's training recruits. Okay. Okay. Zeb mentioned the first time in this show, well, there's supposed to be a sequel to Rebels. And Zeb is finally mentioned in episode 7, halfway through. Zeb is training recruits. And that's why he couldn't come? Because he was training recruits? This is the softest excuse I've ever heard. Like, at least have him be undercover, deep cover in some way off part of the galaxy. Maybe he's doing some mission. I don't know. But have him do something that he can't just stop and dip and go here. Because training recruits can be done by someone else. Especially considering that he could be here and he's not because he's training recruits. Do you realize how just not good that is? It's not good writing. That's very flat. But at least he's been mentioned. At long last, we have word on Big Z. Sorry, that was Zolwar. This is just Zep.
It's been a while. You know, I was beginning to think we'd never find you.
Oh, did you? What? Fun? Never said.
It's complicated.
For your usual level or worse?
Worse.
Well, we can talk about something else, I guess. But you know, getting home is kind of important.
Ahsoka took me on as her apprentice.
Twice.
Why? I mean, congratulations. Really?
Go on.
No, that's great. Makes sense, of course. Trained a little before, back when I was first learning.
I remember.
Yeah, so where is Ahsoka? Is she coming?
Okay, you know what? First positive pause of my reaction to series. 1805. It's the first time in this show I can say that we've had a clean character interaction that looks like a character interaction. We're in episode 7, and the first time in this show that characters have acted like characters talking to one another is here, just now. But at least we have one. We have one. And it lasted like 30 seconds of that segment of time. But at least it was there. I wanted to point it out because I wanted to appreciate it. It was very cute while it lasted. And it probably won't last much longer.
That's complicated.
Now we're back to not having a lot to work with here. Intense drumming? Excuse me, what? What in the what? What he's going over a hill and we're hearing intense drumming. Is the sub? Oh no. Oh, okay. So no. They have howlers. All of them have howlers. It was not just a Night Sister thing. The Night Sisters weren't the only ones to raise howlers and to give them to the Imperials. The Naughty Bandits had howlers to throw. And also Shin. Shin has a howler that's bright white. No one else does. That means she's special. And she's light and good. Baylan is dark and evil. Because he has a black armor on and a black howler like the other black bandits. But also, Shin has white clothes and white hair and a light howler. This is symbolism, obviously. But also, what the fuck were the howlers last episode? What is going on? There's just very confusing.
We are at your service, my lord.
Ahsoka Sano lies hidden within the graveyard. Find her.
Yes.
Okay, no. What is your plan then? I thought your plan was to, like, corner her in and box her in and be like, aha, this is the, like, tricking... Okay. I thought your plan was that you were going to predict her own mindset before it happened. Like, when that one captain over Ryloth was like, I will be predicting Skywalker's... Well, like, oh, we know his file. He'll be back. But, like, actually good at doing their job. As opposed to, like, you know... Just that, because I mean he was competent, but like competent didn't get him very far. Thrawn's supposed to be like, you know, the well, it will be a terrifying day for those who oppose us. Well, like, what was once a nightmare has become a dreadful reality to those who oppose us. Once I return back home to my villa, but he hasn't predicted her thought process yet. He's just relying on the Night Sisters to find her so then he can suss her out. That's it. That's easy. That's not hard. That's easy mode. Thrawn thinks like 3 or 4 levels ahead. This is thinking 1 level ahead. Frustrating. Oh, nice. They also have their steel balls of fate, I guess. Oh, no. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm not going to pause here. They would know what section of the ring she was in. That makes sense.
Nothing. I cannot locate Lady Ren.
Well, no duh.
Scans are being jammed, or there is too much debris.
No duh. Your scanners don't work out here. Your scanners shouldn't work at all. We don't need to scan. There's another way. What's the other way? The Force?
Do you think your bond is...
Your bond is that strong? No. No, you can't just mix arcs. No. Figured it out. The answer is both. The answer is both. She is exactly the same person from episode 1 to now, and she also had that arc. They're just flexing them. Just whenever they feel like it, whichever version of Sabine they want. It's either Sabine, the person who's gone through the arc, or it's Sabine, episode 1, transposed onto future self. It's both at the same time. Which means we don't have a character here. We have 2 different characters that are swapped between as the writers need them to be. And that's just sad, is what it really is. It means that we don't have a character we can bite our teeth into and be like, there's meat here. It's dust. It's all dust. We have 2 different characters uniting into one, and it's just all dust. She broke her bond with Ahsoka when she just betrayed her and betrayed her character and just handed them at to Baylan and was just like, you know what, forget Ezra over everything. That severs her bond. Her bond is not strong with Ahsoka. Ahsoka and her have basically cut themselves off. And yet, her bond remains strong enough to detect her through the debris field, through the planet, through everything. That's so just bad writing. You don't get to do both. Pick one. It's not an interesting character. It's swapping, it's flisming between 2 entities that exist. Sabine is like the cat. The cat who's both dead and alive. That's what she is. She just flisms between 2 entities at the same time. And now she's calling out to Sabine. Okay, we're pausing here. Number 1, they're called the Noti, which is odd because the bandits speak the same language as the Noti. That's why I've been calling them the Noti crowds, because they speak the same language. They're the Noti language group, not the Noti people. So, what the fudge? Number 2. How did Ezra ingratiate himself with the Noti people? The answer is that they took him in when he really needed help and set him up with this pot. That's pathetic. That's a disgustingly boring answer. That's bland as frick. They can't come up with something interesting. They physically can't. And now Sabine is just like tuning out Ezra, just so that she can hear Ahsoka. What is this? It's Sabine like learning that Ezra is not actually is like an ethereal being, that she shouldn't be attached to him and should be attached to Ahsoka. I don't know what's going on. What in the world is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Yeah, this doesn't make sense. What's this? You see her, but that's wonderful because how do you see her? And that's not helpful because this isn't a 3D render. Nice.
Oh no.
Also, Ezra doesn't know that Sabine is using the Force. He's Force sensitive. He uses the Force. Where's his use of the Force?
Don't worry. I know where we're going.
Okay. Alright, we are 21:48. 21:48. Thrawn was going to box them in, and instead he's just picking a task, like picking an idea. He's like, I'll have the Great Mothers flush her out of the ring by firing into the ring with the turbo lasers. And then what? We don't know. I think right now his plan is just this. And then when it fails, we're going to be like, well, that was just one step. We finally flushed her out of the ring. She's got only one place to go, Peridia's surface. And now we'll get her here. And then when they fail again, it'll be like, well, we've boxed her in further. No, you haven't. She's fine. She's gonna be fine. You can't kill her yet. This isn't the end of the series yet. We'll freaking see. Also, how are they chasing her through the ring? They can't sense her. Why are they how is the fire chasing her? How is the fire chasing her? How is the fire chasing her? They only have vague coordinates of where the fire is at. How is the fire chasing her? Well done, we flushed you out of hiding. I said it! We're not that focused. Okay. That's great. But, like, what the fudge? Excuse me? Huh? Pardon me? What? Okay. Great. And then there's Baylan and Shin.
Contact Thrawn. Kill Sabine and Ezra Bridger. And take your place in the coming Empire.
Alright. We've cooked it. Yes! Aha! Number one, he's not going to keep his promise. He's not. His promise. I already said it. It was she could find Ezra and then she will have no harm come to her. And here he tells Shin to kill Ezra and Sabine. He broke his promise. No ifs, no ands, no buts. 2. In the coming Empire. What Empire? Is it Thrawn's? I assume so, which means his motivation is as basic as the restoration of the Empire, which slaughtered the other Jedi. That is so boring. So boring.
You
You won't help?
Your ambition drives you in one direction. My path lies in another.
Awesome. We're going to pause a second time here. 23:30. 3:30. Your ambition drives you in one direction, my path lies in another. What is their relationship then? What the fudge? I thought they were master and apprentice and had a close bond that just strand years. No, apparently they've just happened to get together this weekend, and happened to just have the same employer and were playing it, being master and apprentice, despite the fact they evidently weren't. I don't know what's going on. What the fudge is going on? What on earth is going on? What is his other path? Is his other path just retirement? I guess it is. Okay.
I've located Ezra Bridger. Send me his coordinates now.
One parting lesson, Shin. Impatience for victory. You guarantee defeat.
Great. So they're just parting ways, and that's it. That's it? That's it. They're just parting ways? This is a years-long relationship that they've supposedly had, I guess. I don't know. But, and this is it? This is the end of it? They're just gonna dip? Yep, that's it. They're done. Their relationship is over. That's it. Dispatch 2 gunships to assist the mercenaries. Oh great, it has these stupid gunships from Rebels. Awesome. These stupid gunships from Rebels. Oh golly, these suck. Also, what is this? What is this? Wait, 2513. 2513. 2513. The bandits have laser weaponry. But when they attacked when they attacked Sabine last episode, they had sticks with sharp edges on the ends. That's all they had. This is bad. What is this? It's very, very poorly done. Because now you're inconsistent in a way that makes sure that Sabine can survive. This is ridiculous. I hate this. This show is so bad. And yep, 25, 27, 25, 27. I've already prepared this point because I've seen this clip. This is where the clip ends, basically. But the guy swings slingshot, bang, and it bounces off the armor of the guy. If they're in a hostile relationship with each other, where the bandits continuously prey on the Noti crab people, given that they've got howlers, and howlers are evidently the natural predators of the Noti crab people, then what on earth is this? Why do they have slingshots that don't even work? They've been in this conflict probably for centuries, for their entire lives. They've grown up, lived, and died trying to defend themselves against the bandit on the howlers. And yet, this guy is using a weapon that doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. If their weapon doesn't work, they die. So why don't they have weapons that work? That's charming. Any real weapons? There are peaceful people. Oh my gosh! There are peaceful people. They've survived well enough. No, that's not how this works. They're all dead. dead as a doornail. They're a peaceful people, and they don't have weapons that work. So when the Howlers and the bandits come hunting at night and decide to prey on the noted crab people, the noted crab people roll over and die. That's what that means. And not only that, but they pick apart the noted crab people, and yet they have less technology than the noted crab people. They don't have repulsor lifts. The noted crab people do. What is this? This is poor world building. Horrible, horrible job. So Sabine's the only one who's been doing anything this episode, I guess. Alright, we're pausing again. 26 flat. So now they have electrical weapons. This is just so inconsistent. They just had sticks and rocks last episode. How do they have electrical weapons now? What kind of industry do they have where they harness electricity but also ride around on howlers? They have forged armor but also just electrical staffs and guns? What? This isn't 1900s Japan. Okay? It's not. Because you know how long that lasted? It lasted in 1900. 30 years from there, they were invading China. 30 years before, they were isolated from the entire world. And in using swords, mostly. So, unless you want to explain why we have a freeze frame of time in which the bandits are living in a decade's worth of Japan, but that's a perpetual civilization, unless you want to explain why we're getting that slice of their history, you've got a problem here. Because that's not how world building works. This is their fundamental civilization? No, because the Japanese were transitioning. That's what this is? They ram into... I know. Pausing here. 2611. 2611. Why is he trying to stab into the car? And it's not working. So then why is he doing this strategy? Theoretically, right? This is stuff that this battle has gone on for centuries, right? Theoretically, right? They've lived their entire lives and keep getting hunted by these guys. So they should know what works to hunt and what doesn't work to hunt. They should know what works to defend and what doesn't work to defend. This is ridiculous to assume that this is the very first encounter between these civilizations. That's unhinged. That's really without brain cells, is what that is. Yeah, throwing rocks works. Sure thing, dude. I'm glad to see that Sabine is perfectly fine. It's great to see that. There we go. Alright, so that's why they were stabbing. Because you can kind of like stab the engine, I guess. We can't leave them? Why? No! 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 That's not how nobids work. No! 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 You don't circle the wagons around the wounded and the sick and the elderly. No! 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 Holy moly! No, you're a peaceful people. You don't have weapons. Why are you letting yourself be caught and killed? Why are you doing this? That's not how this works. No! Holy frick! No! This is gonna kill all of them. Are you stupid and dumb? Holy frick! That's so dumb. That's so stupid. That's so dumb. That's so stupid. Holy moly! This is their plan. Their plan is to surrender and die and be eaten by the Howlers. What is this? This is not how you defend yourself. Holy frick! And Baylan's just sitting on the hill doing nothing. What? Haha, funny. Now he doesn't speak Nodi. That's great.
Lock the door. We'll be fine.
How does he understand basic? Oh no. No. 2805. 2805. Just frustrating again. How does the Nodi understand basic? I can understand if Ezra has taken the time and effort to learn the Nodi language, but to assume that the Nodi have understood basic and know what he's saying here is preposterous. He needs to be speaking Nodi here. And, may I add, there's no reason why he would have authority over the other Nodi, because he's clearly the one organizing the Nodi defenses, which means that he has a position of hierarchical leadership over the Nodi. How did he get in that position? They helped him out and set him up with this house? How? When? Why? And what? And then just gave him the role of chief? This is ridiculous. Oh, now she's only being chased by 3 fighters. What do you know?
Land while under attack. Standard Jedi mission protocol states.
No need to land.
Oh, not this again.
Yes, this is. Once I'm on the ground, draw the fighters away.
Oh, no.
Remember what happened last time.
You got the timing wrong?
And didn't I feel terrible?
No!
Don't tell me she goes back out onto the wing and fights the fighters? Don't tell me that. Okay, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Okay. I was really worried there for a second that she was going to go out and fight the fighters on the wing again. But no, she's just going to slide off the wing and jump off a plane. No! You're dead! No! Pausing here. No! No, 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 no. Did you see that guy on the highway where he tried to pull a GTA and jump out of the car when it was going like 45, 50 miles an hour down the interstate? He rolled out. You know what happened to him? He died. He's dead. He died in the hospital like a day later. She just jumped out of a plane. Feet first. Her body is broken and damaged and she's dead. That's the way to put it. She's dead. But no, she's fine. Because guess what? Height, weight, and speed don't affect her because she's the main character and it doesn't matter. Because nothing of this matters unless you're an unnamed bad guy. This is bad writing. Oh, what a coincidence. She happened to jump off right in front of Baylan. Who was shooing away his howler, I guess.
Disappointed?
No. However, I'll allow you to interfere.
I don't have time for this.
That I know.
Oh no.
Plan.
Here. Do your thing.
What thing?
It's your lightsaber. Take it.
You keep it.
What?
I don't need it. Besides, you've been training.
Very funny.
No, I'm serious.
Take it.
I gave it to you. It's yours now.
Please take a blaster.
No. Force is my ally. That's all I need.
Okay, we're gonna pause here. We're going to pause here. It is 30:27. Ezra is going to not arm himself. Which means we're going to get some very slizzy battling here. Because we're about to see Ezra use the Force for attack and never for defense. You remember? That's not what Yoda said. No. Sorry. He said defense and never for attack. Because when you only arm yourself with the Force, we're going to have some very flismy battle sequences where our combatants don't have weapons in them and just use the Force over and over again. I don't know how to put this, but this is dumb. There's no way to make this look good. Alright, back to pressing play. Yep. He just uses martial arts and then kicks people with the Force. What is this? This is really dumb. I told you, there's no way to make this look good, and I was right. Oh, yeah, see, yeah, I knew it was gonna come. I knew it, and she lost her blasters, and so she used the lightsaber. I knew it, it's every time. Every time in this show. Ta. Okay. What? No. No. Don't tell me. Okay, good. Okay. Ah. This is so bad. Holy moly. I don't have... Alright. Now, we're going to see how the night troopers do.
Deploy teams 1 and 2 use Quantum 7 and 10.
We have that.
Outside is short one mercenary. Where's Ben and Scarlet?
Awesome. It's a lot of stormtroopers. That's like 40 stormtroopers. They had like 10 total. This is just not consistent.
Destroy them.
Wait. We could talk. Or we could just... Don't you want to take us as prisoners? Or...
Awesome. I love to see this. Once more, unto the breach. The stormtroopers are useless. They're useless again. They've had 9 years of combat, of intense survival, And they're useless. Once again. No! They're back to their rebel selves. They're useless. They're just nothing. Again. No! No, the stormtroopers are useless. The night troopers are supposed to be good, and they're useless. No! This is so bad.
Recall the gunships. Call off the area of the source.
35. 37. Look at that. Look at that. I seem to have underestimated my opponents. Well, we'll have learned from our mistakes. Let's recall all our assets. And we'll go ahead and we'll think this one over, I guess, guys. Perhaps. Well, here's the problem, right? We still don't have a plan from Thrawn. Was this his plan? Because if it was, it didn't work. And there's not much else that we know that the writers can think of. They had them surrounded and it didn't work because the stormtroopers suck again. So now that we know that the night troopers are literally just nothing, they're just rebel stormtroopers, the threat Thrawn poses on the ground with assets he has is zero. There's no threat from Thrawn beyond his quote-unquote brilliance, which we haven't seen yet. This is just standard. Imperials getting beat. There's a few extra steps in here where we pretend that Thrawn's doing it better because he somehow is also planning ahead of them, but he's not. Call off the aerial pursuit. The aerial pursuit did nothing. Call off the ground troops. The ground troops did nothing. Call off the mercenaries. The mercenaries did nothing. Nothing he's done has worked. That's all failed. He is a failure. He's done like 5 different plans, and all of them have failed to the point that all of our heroes, which started the episode separately, are now together. He has utterly failed in every capacity. This is what I mean. Thrawn in this series and in Rebels is fake smart. He's not smart. He's dumb. He is the average Imperial officer, but blue and speaks his lines slower, so you believe he puts more thought behind them.
These are unfortunate, but acceptable losses.
Unfortunate but acceptable losses in the absence of Lord Baylan. Yep.
Lord Baylan. In the grand scheme of things, one might even call this first match with Sano a success.
Yep. In the grand scheme of things, one might even call this first match of Sano. Yeah, our Angel Reina, good points. Let me show you what I see. What do you see, Thrawn?
With our enemy distracted, the cargo transfer is now almost complete, which means we shall soon leave this forsaken place.
Alright, I'm cutting him off here because he might have a plan. I want to cut him off before he says it. Right now, once again, his plan is just to leave. That is it, and that is all. And so his plan is his plan is centered around them leaving, and he's being like, oh, the cargo transfer is almost complete. We just have to keep them away from us for a few more hours or days or whatever. Here's the problem, Thrawn. Like, I see only my enemies reunited. Here's what I see. Well, we're almost done, and then we're out of here. We're cooked and we're gone. Problem. They have a ship that they didn't have before. They're all together now and able to coordinate their efforts and their resources. And you've pulled everything back and left them unharassed to come up with a plan and execute it. So, Thrawn, you have not accounted for variables. You have made the variables already present more potent. Thrawn is not putting together a good plan. He is putting together a bad plan. He is fake smart.
Ahsoka Tano has lost the one thing she could not afford to lose today.
Time. Right? Yep. Called it. Except, guess what?
Very much on our side now.
Time is very much on our side now? No, it's not. They have a ship. They can get to you whenever they want. Go on, Shin Hati. Better run off, like the night troopers are.
Surrender your weapon. I can help you.
Okay, no. Stop. No, just stop. No. 37. What was it, 31? Awesome. Surrender your weapon. I can help you. Then she runs off. You know what you need to do? You need to kill her. Because she's still a threat to you. Where was Thrawn's betrayal here, yeah? It didn't happen. It's okay if we kill or restrain your mercenaries. Quite frankly, it might even be to our benefit. Guess what hasn't happened? They haven't been killed or stranded. They're still active and able to help. And Shin's just running off like a goofball. She didn't surrender, which would have made this interesting. She didn't convert to the light side, which would not have made this interesting. She is running off, and we can't run off after her and kill her. We're just letting her get away for no reason except that Ahsoka feels like she deserves to get away. Ahsoka is letting her get away like Thrawn is letting them get away.
Ahsoka.
Alright.
I thought you were dead. And this is for you.
You thought she was dead?
Really, I was wrong.
Just talk to him in Nodi. Tell him that. Tell him that in Nodi. Don't tell him that in basic. He's no basic. Tell him that in Nodi. 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 Don't speaking Nodi language. Tell him this in Nodi. He can't speak basic. Oh my gosh! And now we're just gonna get a. We're gonna cook more clock. We're gonna cook more clock, aren't we? Oh, guys, I'm getting a feeling.
I think I might be going home.
I might be going home after all. We're cooking clock. 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 Cooking clock. Episode over. Episode over. Horrible. As usual. Alright, let's do over our questions just to wrap this up. How did he survive the open window? We don't know. What is the plan after he gets out of here? We don't know. What's his arrangement with the nightmothers? We don't know. Why do you want to kill Baylan and Shin? We don't know. And it doesn't look like he wants to anymore. What is his relationship with Morgan? We don't know. Why did he want to take care of, to make sure Ezra / Sabine got hunted and killed? We don't know. Well, actually, no. We have a suspicion that he was using them as bait to kill Ahsoka. But also, he didn't know Ahsoka was alive at the time, so in reality, we don't know, but we're kind of writing in backwards. Why couldn't he find Ezra? We don't know. What does he know about the New Republic? We don't know. How has he changed in the last 9 years? We don't know. How has Ezra changed in the last 9 years? We don't know. How did he survive the same as Thrawn? We don't know. How did he get away? We don't know. How did he survive on the waste before the crab noti? We don't know. How did he adapt to the crab noti lifestyle / get them to accept him? They just found him and he was in need and they sent him with a pod and gave him the authority of a chief. How did he react when he learned Sabine has lied to his face and everything he sacrifices for nothing? He has suspicion of that reaction, but he doesn't know for sure. As of yet, the answer is no reaction. Morgan, what is her goal now that she has found Thrawn? We don't know. What is her character? We don't know. Is she a suck-up? We don't know. Is she a self-important, arrogant frickwad? We don't know. Is she a religious zealot? We don't know. Nightmothers, what is their relationship with Morgan? We don't know. What is their relationship with Thrawn? We don't know. Are they the only wishes on Peridia? We don't know. If so, what happened? We don't know. How did they survive? We don't know. Where are the other wishes? We don't know. Baylan Skull, what's his plan? We don't know. What's his relationship with Shin beyond Master and Apprentice? We don't know, and now it looks like there isn't one because she just ran off without him and they just separated their entire relationship and just like easily. So there's just no relationship then. Awesome. What are his goals and aspirations? We don't know. Why does he want to work with Morgan and Thrawn? We don't know. Is he going to keep his promise or not? He will not. He will lie. What happens when he learns Thrawn has betrayed him? We don't know. What's his character? We don't know. What's his history beyond I survived Order 66? We don't know. Shin, what's your history? We don't know. What's your relationship with Baylan? We don't know, and it looks like it's just nothing. Awesome. What is one character trait of hers? Well, Baylan said that she was ambitious, so there we go, I guess. What's her goal / motivation? We don't know. I guess take a role within a new empire that exists? I don't know. We don't have any specifics on this. Huyang, what was the story he was going to tell Ahsoka? I don't know. Sucks to suck, I guess. Well, Ahsoka, what did she learn between worlds? What was the lesson that Anakin taught her? We don't know. Was it the world between worlds or concussion? We don't know. How has she changed since episode 4? Like, what's the progression here? Not really any. She's smiling a bit more now that she's met Ezra, but like outside of that, not really anything different. She appears to be about the same. She didn't really learn anything. She's still like listening to holotapes of Anakin teaching her how to fight. So it just sounds like she's just not changed very much, has she? How will she react to Sabine's betrayal? She'll smile and be okay with it. How will she react to meeting Ezra? She'll give him a hug. How will she try to stop Thrawn's return? We don't know. How will she survive? Will she survive when Thrawn shoots the whale? People scared? Yes. What other wildly new powers will she gain that she'd like to share with the class? Well, none so far. Guess they're showing restraint this episode. Sabine, did she have a character arc from 1 to 4 that got assassinated, or was she genuinely just the same person between episode 1 through now? Essentially both, which is not compatible because they aren't compatible. So we don't have anything right now. It's just dust again. What consequence will she incur from her decisions? We don't know. Will she learn anything from her mistakes? We don't know. Will she fight another battle where she starts with guns and loses them and has to resort to her lightsaber, and once doing she's able to at least temporarily regain her momentum? Yes. Has her being impaled actually affected her in any way? Nope. Zeb, who's that? Well, he's a New Republic training officer. Hera, will she stop being a jerk for one episode? No. Will she suffer any punishment for gross negligence violation of structure? Nope. Will she be able to organize a defense of the denial system? We don't know. Will she learn to be a good parent? We don't know. Jason, is there any limit to his abilities given without training he's able to hear into another dimension? We don't know. Enoch, does he have a character beyond? Does he have a character? Or is he just Merark? Ergo, a waste of screen time. We don't know. World building, Peridia. What happened to the Night Sisters? We don't know. What was the skill of their civilization? We don't know. What was their relationship with the Dathomir witches? We don't know. What remains of their civilization? We don't know. What was it like? We don't know. What allowed the Nodi language group to rise? We don't know. Who are the bandits? We don't know. What's their culture? We don't know. Why do they speak the same language as the crab people? We don't know. Why do they walk around doing banditry instead of riding? They don't. They just did last episode. How do crowds move around? Well, they use repulsor lift technology. How did they master metallurgy? It appears so. If so, how and from whence did they get in the metal? We don't know.
How did the stormtroopers survive this long? We don't know. How did they get the materials to construct such extensive repairs on their systems and the ship itself? We don't know. How many people does Thrawn have left? We don't know. New galaxy. Is it literally just a Star Wars galaxy here, but here instead of there? Is there seriously nothing different about this galaxy? Why even bother this new hack? We don't know. It looks like no. Why do they demilitarize? We don't know. Why do they continue demilitarizing after Thrawn? We don't know. How big of a problem really are the ex-Imperials in the system? We don't know. Is there any problem that at all from mass incarcerating thousands of dockyard workers just for their employment history? We don't know. What's their jurisdiction? We don't know. What do people like them or not? We don't know. So what the frick is going on with the New Republic? We don't know. This is what I'm talking about. These are basic questions. These are fundamental things that we should already know by now. We should have known most of this stuff by about episode 3. We're about to hit the season finale. And these are basic questions have not been answered. This is what I mean. It can't answer basic questions. And they're just introducing new problems. We could add more questions to this. What is Thrawn's plan to stop Ahsoka from stopping him? We don't know. What's the deal? What's Baylan's plan now? We don't know. What's Shin's role here? What's her role in the hierarchy now that she's apparently just part of the Empire now? We don't know. What's the deal with the night troopers? Are they actually good or not? Probably not. Just what powers do the nightmothers actually, have? Like, what's their limit? We don't know. We're introducing new questions. We're not solving the old ones. And unless this episode 8, which is shorter than episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is able to answer about as many questions as The Rise of Skywalker had to answer, unless they're able to do that in less time, this show is sunk. I'm sorry. I don't know how to break it to you, but this show sucks. It's broken and it will never be good. And it's going to end on a cliffhanger so that you demand that we get a season 2 / a movie. And you know why? You know why it's going to work? Because it was a cliffhanger and you thought you liked it. Looking back, it sucks. But hopefully season 2 will be good. Guess what? This show doesn't deserve a season 2. And if you've bought into this, I'm sorry. I would ask you to reconsider. Please. Don't buy into this show. This show is a con artistry. It is a scam. There's nothing here. This show just adds problems on top of problems on top of problems on top of problems. It goes for the most bland and boring answers. It cannot write itself well, and whenever it writes itself into a corner, it just, no clips the characters and the people into different positions to get them out of the corner. This show fundamentally is broken at every level and cannot work. And you're going to have to tell me how they're going to make this work in about 50 minutes next episode, maybe an hour. Give it an hour. How are they going to fix this? I don't think they can. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me for this long.